Well, everybody, good. Is it? Yeah, it's a very good morning. The sun's shining, and we have SASKO in the kitchen with us. And I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to the SASKO Chef's Kitchen this morning. And we're going to do three lovely, very, very, very easy dishes for Dad, so that the kids can help Mom in the kitchen. So the first thing we're going to do is our bread, and I'm hoping that you have already made your dough up front. If you haven't, it's fine. There's sunshine. Put it in a nice warm spot that's not too drafty so it can rise. But of course, I've done this all up front for you. And then we're going to make a really nice rustic chicken stew. It's delicious. And that gorgeous garlicky cream cheesy bread, we're going to rip it apart. We're going to dunk it Moroccan style into our stew, and we're going to eat that. And you can do all of these things today and cool them down and put them in the fridge so that you have them for Dad tomorrow. And then, of course, SASKO always makes your life very easy. We're going to make a really nice little upside down pineapple dessert, which you can serve with box custard or cream or real custard or mascarpone. But as we go through each recipe, I'll tell you what you can do and how you can do it. Okay, so I have here someone saying, "Oh, Johanna, a very good morning, our lovely chef." Oh, darling, thank you. I don't feel very lovely, but I've got personality. Thank you and good morning. Okay, so what I've done is I've made a really nice, easy dough using a SASKO cake flour. If you want to, if you would like the bread to a little bit more glutinous, you could use the bread flour. We have bread flour as well, but it's just 3 beautiful cups of SASKO bread flour, and to that we've added some eggs and some milk and instant yeast and of course sugar to give that yeast some life, and a bit of salt to give it a nice texture and flavor. Just remember, when you're making your dough, salt and yeast don't like each other very much, okay? So normally what I do is I mix the sugar and the salt into the flour so it's nice and diluted, and then I add the yeast, and away we go. So let's start off. I'm going to start just rolling the dough out. This has risen to twice its size. If you have a look, it's beautiful and airy. Just look at that. Isn't that just absolutely glorious and gorgeous? And that's ready to be tipped out. I'm going to just flour the board ever so slightly, and then I'm going to roll it out, okay? Now I have what we call Autumn in winter in my kitchen. Autumn, come here. This is my little Autumn, who is going to be my assistant today. Say hello, everybody on Facebook and around the world. So this is Autumn, and as I say, I have Autumn in the kitchen today, and Autumn is going to be my assistant. So Autumn, what I need from you, my love, is a bread tin, if you wouldn't mind. I have prepped my bread tin. You can, a loaf tin, okay? Just remember, you want it to be nice and snug, so don't make it like a loaf tin this size for the amount of dough. You can see this, because it's got eggs in it, it is quite a sticky dough, but it's a delicious dough. It's beautiful and light, and it's a gorgeous dough. Now, Autumn, I'm going to ask you, my love, to just roll this dough out for me, like so. I want it that size, okay? So while Autumn is rolling the dough out, and you can just put, that's okay, a little bit of flour on top of it, just to keep it from sticking. Keep going. Here's your flour. And of course, it has to be SASKO flour. You know it's got to be SASKO. I'll give you a little bit more. We're going to be filling this and topping it with deliciousness. So we've made a beautiful cream cheese filling. We've used butter. We've used garlic, some parsley. You can add herbs of your own choice to that if you want. You could add rosemary to it. It depends on what you're going to be serving it with, okay? But you can actually own that butter, that lovely cream cheese mixture. That's beautiful, Autumn. Thank you, darling. That's perfect. So take it and own it, okay? So if you've already made your dough, I'm looking to see. In fact, if you're cooking along with me, you can leave me a comment in the comment section. And while we're talking, you've got plenty of time to do a little bit of hashtagging, hashtag SASKO SA, because we've got a huge, big, beautiful prize that we're going to give away. So once you've done your photographs, and with your comments, every time you make a comment, why don't you hashtag SASKO SA, because you're going to go into a lucky draw for an amazing hamper prize. I think it's about 5,000 Rand. Am I right or wrong? Is it 500 or is it 5,000? 5,000? I think it is 5,000, I can swear. and you can't blame SASKO if it's 500, okay? But I think it's 5,000. So I want to see those hashtags coming up now in the comment section, okay? And we're going to choose a beautiful lucky winner. So hashtag SASKO and everything you say. And of course, when you post your lovely pictures, you have to also hashtag it. And of course, you can follow us and send us lots of love and kisses. SASKO SA on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, and of course, Jenny Morris, chef, okay, on all mediums. And just put that hashtag there, otherwise we don't know that you've entered the competition. Okay, look at this beautiful cream cheese. Now, I made this yesterday because I can. You can make it today for tomorrow. Look at that. You want to just spread it. Look at, isn't that gorgeous? It's just like it flows. Yummy, mummy. Hey, look at that. Okay, so now we've got all of that covered. The next thing is you can use some peppers. You could put mushrooms. I mean, the sky's the limit, but whatever you put on here, just make sure that you chop it nice and fine. If you wanted to add meat to it, you could put smoked chicken, you can put bacon, you can put bacon, you can put chorizo sausage, you can put calamari. No, rubbish, you can't put calamari. What's that stuff called? Chorizo. I said chorizo. Hey, you can't put calamari, but you could actually, because you could make a lovely seafood pizza. Okay, so now we have this is going to give it some beautiful color. Just press it down nicely, and I've used some gorgeous, very mature cheddar. If you want to use a bit of mozzarella with this to make it a little bit more ooey and gooey, please feel free to do it. But you need flavor, so we have to have some kind of a cheddar happening here. Now I'm going to press it down. And you can see this is not the perfect circle because life is not perfect. And when you make it too perfect, no one's going to believe you made it yourself, okay? Let me get a big knife over here. And all I'm going to do is just go like this. Just make a couple of cuts. A little bit more SASKO flour here so my knife doesn't stick. Okay, just cut. Cut. Ah! This is going to be so gorgeous, I tell you. I've got one in the sunshine rising. It's important to, you know, a lot of people say to me, oh, my bread never turns out properly. It's not that the bread doesn't turn out properly. Number one, you're using the wrong brand of flour. Now I'm talking nonsense. The reason it doesn't is because you're impatient. You've got to give that yeast time to work, okay? When you're kneading, you just need to work it. It must be smooth and elastic and satiny to the touch, okay? So that's very, very important to do that. Now what I've done here is I've taken a loaf tin and I've just cut some cooking paper, some parchment paper, greaseproof paper, whatever you want to call it. You might have a silicone mat. I have a couple of silicone mats that I've cut because I bake a lot of bread. And I've sprayed the whole tin. Spray around the sides very, very thoroughly. Why am I telling you to do that? Because when the cheese melts, sometimes it sticks, okay? So now all you're going to do is you're going to take each little piece that you've done this with. As I say, it's rustic. And you just go like that. You want this exposed. This is the most important part of this whole thing. It's going to taste delicious, but you want it to bubble out. You want it to ooze out of its beautiful little doughy parcel, okay? So you just fold it like that, easy peasy, look, and then you just push it in. And if some are big and some are small, it doesn't matter. As long as the filling is on top, just join it up. Join it up nicely like that, okay? You can make big ones, you can make small ones, you can make full-size ones, half-size ones, as long as it looks like that. Just look at that. And then we just pop it into a lovely warm place to rise to twice its size. I'm going to ask my little Autumn to have a look outside in the sun and bring the other one in for me. See? Just lovely and rustic. And you can push it. No one knows what's going on. Okay? Just push it. Let's have a look. Autumn, you can bring it here, sweetheart. Oh, that's looking gorgeous. Let's put that to camera and open the paper up so that our friends can see. If you look at the difference between that and that, you can see that's risen beautifully. I think I'm going to give it another 5 minutes or so. Let me just feel. Oh, yes, look at that. It's all spongy and delicious. And then we're going to just bake that off for about 45 minutes to 50 minutes. In fact, I think that's ready, Autumn. Let's pop it into the oven. We'll just stick the paper on the side, always on the middle shelf. I don't need to tell you that because you're all SASKO bakers. I know you know what to do. Just stick it in the middle. And then we'll just time it, put it on the bottom shelf because it needs space. So always the middle is always good because it gives it a chance to rise to the occasion. Let's have a look at our comments. And you can't wait to see the end product, my darling. Let me tell you, Halimi, I can't wait to eat the end product. You're going to love it. Oh, my goodness me. You wish you had the ingredients. You know what, sweetheart? Well, I can just say to you, Miss Johanna, you will get the ingredients. You don't need a Father's Day to work with SASKO. SASKO is for every day of the week. It's for 365 days of the week. So don't worry about that, my love. You can just take tips from us and make this whenever you feel like it, okay? So I'm just pushing this in. Now you can see there's quite a bit. Just push it like this, push it aside, and make space. Because this bread is all lumpy and bumpy. I love it. It's the most prettiest thing on the block. There we go. Just do that. And it's nice to work off a piece of greaseproof paper, guys, in your kitchen, if that's a tip, because it's so much easier to pack away and to clean up later. Okay. So that one. Look at that. And the egg. I know it's a bit sticky to work with now, but you're going to love me later because you're just going to have the best ever. And I'm going to make a little bit of a space over there, and this is the last one, done and dusted. So this baby I'm going to give to Miss Autumn. And what she's going to do is we're going to take that and we're going to pop it in a nice warm place to rise to twice its size. I'm going to take off my gloves, as one does, and I'm going to just read a couple of comments that are going around there. Portia is saying, I just want to munch that. Oh, my darling, if you could get your face into this delicious garlicness, you're going to love it. And it's all this garlic is just so healthy for you. It's immune boosting, it's antibiotic, it's antibacterial, antisocial. Who cares? This does look fab. Yes, Fab Farsi, this does look fab already, trust me, and that dough is magical. You see, you make magic with SASKO, my darling. And we've got all kinds of flour. We've got self-raising, we've got bread, we've got cake flour. So, I mean, whatever you look for, we've got. Looks full of flavor, Miles G, ghee. It is full of flavor. I'm loving you. Bisma, I'm saying hello to you as well, sweetheart. I just have to go back to the comment. Said, looks lovely already, chef. I thought you said the chef looks lovely, but that's fine, darling. I'll forgive you for that. What else have we got here? Good morning, everyone at SASKO SA. I'm not seeing the hashtags. Come on, don't you want to win that 5,000 Rand voucher? Come on. And hungry, yes, hungry. I want to see Denise Blair. If you had a hashtag there with that beautiful little monster, you would get noticed, you know. Making magic with SASKO. I love that comment, but what saddens me, there's no hashtag. Love your cheerfulness while cooking. Thank you, Elise Sables. SASKO makes me happy. Let's get rid of this. And then we're going to start with the next dish. I'm going to wash my hands. I'll just keep talking. Autumn is going to swap the boards out. And then we're going to do the next dish, which is going to be our lovely, hearty, rustic chicken stew, which is going to be incredible. Let's have a look. See, sweet mother of monkey milk. Are you calling me a monkey? I am a monkey. I'm actually born in the year of the monkey. Did you know that? So I don't know how you got that right. If you had a hashtag there, I might have given you the prize. Hashtags, guys. Hashtag. Oh, I see it. Hashtag Jeanette Rass. SASKO SA. Jenny, you are the bomb. Oh, don't go fast. I'll have to read that. She's saying nice thing about Jenny now. Where are we again? Come. I want that, Jenny, you're the bomb. Oh, hello. Love your bubbly personality and all the lessons and hints in between. I love you, darling. And I'm so happy you got your new board, that you've got your hashtags there. Okay, so now the stew is just one of the loveliest things to make. Sometimes, because I'm obviously doing the bread, I'm not going to be making dumplings. But we're talking about all the different variants that we have. I have the pan. Thank you, my love. So, as I was saying, we've got the one with the self-raising. That makes the most beautiful dumplings. You can bring me everything that's to go with that. Give me the chicken and all the little bits on the side, my spices. So you could actually serve this if you wanted to with dumplings, or, you know, with the rustic bread. You take the plastic off. And I don't have to tell you once you make your dumplings that you don't dare lift that lid, yes? Okay, so we have chicken thighs here. I've chosen to work with chicken thighs because they're lovely and succulent. And I want to have chicken on the bone because all that deliciousness that you get out of the chicken when it is on the bone is just too delicious for words. And if you're making this stew today for Dad for tomorrow, it'll taste even better. So choose, if you want to take the skin off because you want to sort of have a healthier diet, a healthier regime, you're very welcome to do that. If you want to use butter beans that are not in a can and you want to boil them yourself, we'll do that. I often do that because I love the beans more than the chicken sometimes. And is there SASKO in this dish? There most certainly is SASKO in this dish because you always need to thicken things up a little bit and it'll just give you that lovely gravy. And by adding a little slurry made from SASKO flour, what happens is, and this is just a little hint and a tip, is if you're making a stew, just make a little, it doesn't have to be a lot of flour. It's just, here we go. Autumn has made me a little slurry here using SASKO flour. Have a look here. It's nice and runny. But what that does is it just traps all those ingredients and gets it to hug the chicken. Otherwise, you have a very tasty sauce, but it's kind of dissipated. You want this all to be hugging that chicken, and you can do that with some SASKO flour made into a little slurry. Okay, so let's get started. Every good stew needs what we call a Mirepoix. So who's showing off Mirepoix? It's the holy trinity of stews. You can give me that lovely chicken stock, thank you. I can lie and say that we roasted our bones and we gently simmered our chicken, but we didn't. We used a stock cube, and it's a very nice stock cube. Oh, and it smells so chickeny, and I think that's important for me, so you can. And if you wanted to do this, if you're vegetarian, you could mop it up with your beautiful SASKO garlic bread and just use the beans. Lots of beans you can add to that. Some lentils, extra lentils added to that will also make it absolutely delicious. All the pulses, chickpeas. So you can do all of this and just leave out the meat. Okay, I want to know, has anyone started cooking? Who's making the chicken stew? Anybody making chicken stew? Anybody doing a stew? The hashtags are flying here. I hope my back of house team are taking notice of all these blimmin' hashtags. We're going to have a difficult time. You know that choosing a winner. Going to be so many hashtags here. And you can say every time. It doesn't matter how many times you hashtag, hey guys. You're still going to go into that drawer. Hashtag SASKO SA. Okay. You can use any oil. I'm using some lovely olive oil. But if you want to, you can use grapeseed oil, you can use canola oil, any oil you like. Now there's some nice bit of fat in the chicken skin. So I want to just season the chicken. And I'm going to just take a little bit of salt and pepper, which I'm going to just mix together. And just stick it on the skin and keep a little bit back. I don't want to put too much salt into the dish yet, and I'll tell you why. When you're cooking with any pulses, any beans, they will harden, okay? So these are lovely. I've cooked them from scratch. So I nuked them. I have a friend called Mike. You know Mike? Mike is my friend in the kitchen. It's my microwave. It's another pair of hands for me. So I just put them into the microwave and just let them keep going. I keep topping up the water in them, and I don't let them in stock because I don't want salt. The minute you add salt to any pulses, it hardens them and they don't get soft and buttery and creamy the way you want it. So now I'm going to just pop this up to nice and high, and we're going to brown our chicken. We're going to brown our chicken just so that we get some lovely color onto the skin, and also that lovely chicken flavor is going to cook out into the olive oil. I don't want this to be searing hot because I'm not deep frying. I just want to hear the sizzle, okay? So in we go with our chicken like so. As I say, if you want to, I mean, you can use chicken breasts, but let me give you a hint and a tip. I say if you're going to use chicken breasts, just cook them to like 1/4, go chich like that, take them out, cook your sauce, develop your sauce, temper your sauce, taste your sauce, and once you're happy with it, put your chicken in and heat it up at the last minute, okay? So let's look at some of these comments while these are having a nice little sizzle in the pan. No, I'm drooling, Sandra February. Darling, you're drooling now. When you cook this and you make it, your mouth is going to love you, sister. There we go. Let's have a look here. The best chef using the best flour. Absolutely. You know that our flour is like, I don't know, it must be 90 years old by now. I'm only 80 of those years, and I've been using SASKO since I can't even remember how long I've been using it. For as long as I can remember, I even use it in my business. I always have very, very good results from it, so I'm a happy Jenny. Thank you for the tip about the pulses. Absolutely. If you learn anything from me today, take that tip, guys, and just own it. It is really one of the best tips you'll know. Right, let's have a look. See, Father's Day sorted with SASKO magic. Yes, Barbara Davies, you're the bomb. I love it. I'm going to just stick a couple of bay leaves. You can use also dried bay leaves. Remember, dried herbs also are very, very intense. I love bay leaves. They just give the most beautiful flavor. If you, I put 2 in. If you're going to use dry ones, more intense, maybe you can just use 1. But you know, if you are a bay leaf person like me, you can put 2. But you don't want it to overpower, okay? I can tell it smells amazing in the kitchen. Who is that? Sifile. And thank you for the salt tip. I'm loving you. I'm loving it. I can smell the aromas from the screen. Fantastic. I love it. SASKO, of course it's the best, my darling, always the best. I can tell it's amazing that the smells in the kitchen. I know my team have already got their tongues hanging out. They're thinking they're getting garlic bread and my beautiful stew for breakfast. And they are. I have one on the team who normally disappears, and he's hanging around today, baby, because he says you're not baking cake. He wants that bread. I am at Stanger. Oh, Natal. I was born in KwaZulu-Natal. I'm from Tegweni. I'm a Durban girl. A lot of people are saying thank you for that salt tip. It is something that is, I promise you, I have embraced that tip, and it's something you must pass down and just keep passing it down. And that sizzling is making you hungry, Jenny. Can't wait for the end result. Oh, my darling, you have to make this stew. It's just so easy, but of course it doesn't work unless you've got your lovely SASKO bread. It doesn't have to be the garlic bread, but just make some beautiful buttery light bread, you know, using the eggs and the milk in it. But if you want to be lazy, you know, some of us are lazy, but SASKO does have sliced bread, you know. And I like with this, what would really work well, SASKO has the honey and oat loaf, that white one. Oh, mother, I love it. I just love it. Or one of the seeded brown breads would be fantastic. Okay, so this is starting to really bubble and boil. Oh, isn't that looking just too glorious, guys? Love it, love it. Oh, yes, talk to me. Oh, yes. Now, if you think it's the chicken, be careful of fresh bay leaves because there's a lot of moisture in the leaf. I'll put it back again so you can see, because it can pop in the pan and actually spatter your face. I'll put them back so you can see that, you see? So be careful when you're doing that. Just keep popping them in and out, okay, because of the moisture in it. And another little tip while you're working with them is if you want to really get the best flavor out, just take your leaf like this. Take it and squeeze it, because every herb, oh my goodness, this is just releasing lots of love into this pot. Every herb has natural oils, okay? Let me just manipulate you. Okay. This is looking gorgeous. There's a lot of fat coming out of the chicken skin now. Lovely chicken fat. Look at that. Wow. That's looking stunning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this out of the pan, just sear the bottom a little bit. And then I'm going to get my onions in and my garlic. You don't want to put the garlic in too soon because what's going to happen with the garlic is going to burn. Okay, stop it and behave yourself, you naughty bay leaves. There we go. Look at that. Okay, this is looking absolutely delicious. I've cooked, the gorgeous seasoning has been cooked onto the side. I'm now going to take the onions. Now, I'm not going to cut my onions too small. The reason I don't want to cut them too small is I don't want them to disappear into the sauce, okay? But what I do want to do is just release all those beautiful natural sugars. The onion has lovely natural sugar, and it caramelizes. And if you have a look here, the minute this gets color, we call it being translucent because the onion at the moment looks very, very dense. And the minute you can almost see through it, you can actually smell. I love it. Food talks to you. You know, while it's cooking, there's such a transformation that happens. The onion is starting to come off the pan. I can actually start to smell it. And just keep it moving. You don't want it to burn because burnt onions are not nice. Have a look at that. So these are almost what we call translucent, that you can see through them. And now we're going to put some celery into this. You don't have to, but I absolutely recommend it. And the reason I recommend it, it gives wonderful depth of flavor. And just a little celery tip here. If you're watching your waistline, which I try to do all the time, and we're always wanting a little snack. This is one of the vegetables that takes like 100 years to digest because it's got all this beautiful fiber in it. True story. So I keep a glass of celery sticks in the fridge so I can just go munch all the time. And it takes a long time to digest. It takes calories, okay, to break it down. And talking about break it down, oh, look at that lovely chicken fat. You're a poet and you don't know, but my flat feet show it, darling, trust me. And we have another one here. I love it because the onion brings in their own sweet flavor. Yes, my darling, it really does because it has all that caramelization, those lovely, lovely natural sugars. Susan, September, you said it smells divine. I'm going to ask my team, does it smell divine? Oh, yes. Look at my boy. He's smiling because you know what you're getting later. Let's have a look here. I'm saying someone. Who's saying? Shirley. Shirley's saying looks, oh yes, and Daddy is definitely going to enjoy this. Dad will enjoy this. Yes, absolutely, Dad will. I love all the tips. Thank you, Jenny Morris. Jeanette, thank you very much because I think we could all take a tip. You're never too old to learn. And if you've got any tips, guys, please share them with us. And don't forget to hashtag SASKO South Africa. So please share those gorgeous tips. And then we have a Catherine. Who's saying, good morning, loving the cooking along. I hope you're cooking along with us, and thank you for joining us, Catherine. Give us a hashtag, darling, so you can enter the competition. Look at that, our chef. I love you, Puppy. Right, I'll call everybody I love Puppy, just by the way. I love the SASKO cranberry bread, don't I? Just love it. You know what I do with that? I make French toast with it, and I soak it in... You know what I do? And I'm going to give you this tip, but you have to watch it. I soak it in obviously eggs and milk, a little bit of cream, and I put a dash of honey in it. You cannot believe what that does in the pan. It's unbelievable. So do that with your cranberry bread. That'll make a lovely breakfast for Daddy, actually, some SASKO cranberry bread French toast. The golden color is gorgeous. Thank you, my sweetheart. Yes, I love the honey and oat bread too. Of course, Barbara, you know what's good for you, yes? And I'm loving the hashtags, guys, because we really want to treat somebody today. Good morning, loving the cook along, Catherine. I want you to cook along with me. And in fact, you don't all have to make these things today, but what I would like and really love to see is that you make them at some point and take photographs and send it to us. Obviously, if you're going to do it in 2 weeks' time, the prize will have been drawn already. So as soon as you can, it would be nice to see your pictures. I'd love to share, you know, in what you've done in your kitchen with SASKO. Okay, so now we're going to add our carrots. I've cut them into like discs like this because I want them to cook down. I love it when a little bit comes off the side. If you want to, you can cut them fine, but as I say, I want this to be nice and chunky and I want it to be rustic. And what the carrots does is it just imparts that beautiful sweetness as well. And a little tip about carrots. You know when you are boiling vegetables Anything that grows under the ground, you must boil in cold water. Anything above the ground, like your green veggies, you cook in rapidly boiling hot water, okay? Susan September, great Father's Day meal. Oh, yes, for tomorrow. I'm glad you're going to be making the sweetheart. Please make the bread. I love it. Tips are always amazing. Thank you, Chef. Thank you, my darling. SASKO for sure. Oh, absolutely. Now, if you had a hashtag for the chicken drumsticks are okay. Of course the chicken drumsticks are okay. Just give like 3 per person, because I have big drumsticks, so you could have maybe 2 per person, but if you, some of the chicken drumsticks are very tiny, so maybe 3 per person. Amazing show, love it. Oh, thank you so much, Amanda. I love it too. What can I use instead of carrots? You can use turnips. You could use anything you want. This is yours, sweethearts. You take this and own it. Can you see how all the oil and the chicken fat has now been absorbed into the vegetables? So there's a little tip here, another tip. To me, it looks like I really need to add some more oil to this, but don't. What you do is you take a tiny bit of water, or you could use a tiny drop of chicken stock. And by doing this, what you're doing is you are bringing, can you see? You're bringing the oil back into the pan. It starts drawing the oil back into the pan, like that. Because I'm going to add my spices now, and I don't want this to burn, but I want to add my garlic as well. Now, I love garlic. As you were saying, it's antibacterial, it's antibiotic, antisocial. Who cares? Ha-ha. Look at that. Now, if you think you can smell this, I know my team can. And this is smelling absolutely delicious. I'm bringing back my bay leaves because there's no more hot oil for it to sput. And just pop that back in. Okay. By rustic, when we call this a lovely rustic stew, you still want these little bits floating around it, guys, okay? So you don't want to cook it out and hurt it. I'm going to go now with my paprika. If you want to use smoked paprika, you can. You get sweet paprika, you get hot paprika. You can choose which one you want. I've got a bit of hot paprika here, so we're going to start coughing and spluttering maybe. And oregano. Now, oregano is a very intense herb. If you put too much in it, you can absolutely spoil your dish because it cooks bitter. So rather save a little bit for the end, like, you know, if you're making a curry, you'll often find an Indian chef goes like that. That's the magic. He says to you, look over there. And while you're looking there, he's putting masala in the pot. That's his secret. Because it'll make it a little bit more intense. Just have a look at this. This is looking absolutely glorious. Now what is happening is all the spices, all the flavors are hugging your veggies. I'm going to give it another little splash. Bring it up again. If you don't want your spices to and your garlic to burn. Oh, mama, this is absolutely glorious and delicious. Okay, so next thing we're going to put in here now is our tomatoes. Okay, nice. And the tomato paste. Now there's a difference. I'm asking you specifically to use the paste, and the reason for that is the paste is very, very concentrated. Tomato puree is exactly what it says. A tomato puree is when the tomatoes have been cooked down and broken down, and it's quite runny. A paste is when it has been cooked down and concentrated. Okay? So you'll even find in your dishes, if you put tomato puree where a recipe says tomato paste, the color will be completely different. If you only have tomato paste in your pantry and a recipe calls for tomato puree, it's fine. You can use the paste, okay? But just remember, it's that concentrated tomato flavor. Isn't this looking glorious? You see how the paste has just changed the whole landscape. I'm now going to go in with my beans, which, let me tell you, these beans are soft and buttery. Happy mouth, creamy, lovely. Okay, look at that. Look at that. And now we're going to just take our chicken. In fact, I'm going to pop my peppers in now because I don't mind. These will break down. Remember, they're a little bit softer than an onion or a carrot. That's why I've cut them quite big. So some of them will break down and just get all cooked into the sauce, and some of them will just keep it, and like keep its shape, you know, so don't cut them too small. I'm going to go in with this and the rest of my stock. And I'm going to ask Autumn, my darling, you don't have to stand in the pantry, Autumn. You can stand next to me. Give me about that much water, sweetheart. We're going to put some warm water into the pot. Why would I say put warm water into the pot? There's a very good reason for that, because you don't want to drop the temperature. I love kidney beans. Can I use any bean, Carol and Jewel? Any bean you like. Absolutely. There's also another little tip about kidney beans. Apparently, someone can Google this and correct me. Kidney beans, red beans, also need to be cooked before, because some things have got a little bit of toxicity. So you just need to cook your red beans before, drain off the water, and then start again. Does this look like heaven? Does this look delicious? Because I'm telling you, it's going to taste absolutely divine. And I'm going to just stick a couple of these celery leaves in. Not too much celery leaf, once again. You can always add celery leaves at the end of your cooking time. And I'll tell you why, especially when you're making soups, because they go bitter. They don't want long cooking, okay? So you use the stems, and then later on we can use the, look at that, isn't that beautiful? This smells glorious. Now, if you want to indulge and you want to add a little bit of wine to this, a dry white wine, you could add it with your stock. That looks beautiful. You could do that as well. Now, the important thing is for this to slowly cook down to perfection. I have made one already, which I'm going to bring out just to show you. And just remember, guys, at the end, what we want to do is we need to just bring the sauce together. Lovely, lovely. I'm going to just warm this up with a bit of a slurry. I was going to get the igniter, because just in case Ishkom lets us down. There we go. I want to just heat this through very, very, very gently. I'm going to just add a little bit more water to this, and I'm going to add a bit of a slurry so you can just see how it comes together. Is this smelling delicious, guys? Thank you for the celery tip. You're going to love me for that as well. And you want to eat that bread. Oh, and roti. But as long as you make your roti with SASKO flour, I don't care, darling. Roti would be fantastic. Absolutely fantastic to go with that. Colorful. It is a beautiful, colorful dish. As you can see, I made this yesterday. It has held its color. It still looks beautiful and vibrant. And as you warm it up, you're going to see it's going to be even more colorful. D. Funi, you say that looks divine. Absolutely. The neighbor's trying to crawl over the wall because they've smelt the stew cooking where they can get back. Otherwise, I'm going to set the dogs on them. You see my dogs barking. Look, let's have a look. See, very important, I always boil before cooking. Yes, good tip. What other herbs can I add? Okay, let's talk about soft herbs and hard herbs. Soft herbs are your things like, you've got tomato. What loves tomato? Tomato just adores the company of basil, of rosemary, of oregano, of marjoram. All of those herbs are beautiful to go in this dish. And if you're going to use, as I say, the fresh ones, what you do is you use them at the end. Okay, a little bit of dried oregano just to cook it, because you want that flavor to cook out and seep into your dish. And once again, if you're using fresh herbs, it's very important to remember that dried herbs are more intense. So you use a little bit less of the dry, and you can use more of the sweet and fresh ones. Very important. This looks divine, looks yum. Want to eat it with bread? Of course you can, darling. Or roti, absolutely. You can make fat cook. You know what SASKO have just brought out? This unbelievable fat cook mix. It's called sweet dough. And this would be stunning with fat cook. Forget about the dumplings, doll. And it's quick and it's easy. You literally take that packet, and I've done it, so I can say, and you just mix it with water. Just follow the instructions on the packet, and you let it rise for 1 hour. No kneading, no nothing. Break it into the balls, the size that you want. You stick it aside. They rise to the occasion, and you just deep jup in the oil. What flour is best to use when baking the bread? Now, I have used the cake flour because I would like a little bit of a lighter loaf, but you can use any of our flour. You can use the bread flour or the cake flour, it doesn't matter. The bread flour will have a little bit more gluten, so it'll have a slightly different texture, but it'll be just as unbelievable and delicious. But this is the one that I've used today. I've used the SASKO bread flour. Oh, I wish I was part of the team so I can eat all that deliciousness, my darling. If I could send it to you virtually, I would do it. I love you. Aha, how can I store fresh herbs for longer? Now, this is a very good tip, okay? So now what you do, especially coriander, because that goes manky very, very quickly. So I always tell my staff, when the coriander comes in, because I like to buy things in bunches with roots intact, because if I'm doing Asian cooking, the root, that's where the flavor is, okay? So normally, just say you're buying a bunch from the supermarket, you bring it in, the first thing you do is you just trim the roots off, because that's where all the sand is. Number one, you have a water-saving tip here. You're not wasting water. So you cut that off. The next thing you do, it normally comes with string. You cut the string off, because otherwise someone's going to get a little bit of hairy stuff from that string in their food, and they're going to think, oh yes, someone's shedding. So you take that off, and then you take a nice bowl of water. Do it in a bowl, not in your sink, because you can then recycle that water back into your garden. And you just do this, and it's like when you bath your baby. You know, you go in the water, out the water, in the water, out the water. And then you do that. Then you just let it lie in a colander to dry off as best you can. And then I take Colton roll, what do you call that stuff? Absorbent paper, kitchen towel, whatever you want to call it. I lie it on that, and then I dab it, and then I actually put a clean piece into a bag, lie it on that, and stick it into the fridge. And I want to tell you something. That will last you for, I can't even begin to tell you, and I can prove it. I can show you some I've got in the fridge at the moment. Can you use coriander and spring onions? Absolutely you can. Just going back to the herb story, remember you don't want to soak your rosemary and basil and things like that in water for too long, because they will go black. If you are growing, I still have some basil left from summer. It freezes beautifully, okay? So if you're buying basil, say, in the supermarket, you don't want to waste it. Just go rinsey, and you put it into a bag, and I'm going to, just the neighbors come over the wall again, close the front door. Then what you do is you just stick it into a plastic bag and freeze it. It will go black, but it doesn't matter. The flavor is absolutely intense. You just crush it and sprinkle it over your food. I wish I was part of the cooking show. I'm a big foodie and watch cooking shows all the time. Yummy, 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 Elise. You can be part of our SASKO team. Every month we cook something up. You can cook along with us, my darling. And SASKO is so nutritional, absolutely, and it's good. And thank you for the tips, Carol Ann. It's an absolute pleasure. What other herbs can I give you a bit of information about? Let me just get back to this, because I mustn't distract myself now. Okay, can you just see how beautiful this is looking? And if I can get my cameraman into this pot over here, if I can get him into this pot, I want you to see the watery, okay? I actually deliberately left a little bit of stock out of this because I wanted to thicken it up beautifully. Look here. I'm now going to put a little bit of slurry and show you that how beautifully it does cling. Okay, you're not making a paste, because we're not asking you to put your wallpaper up on the wall. Okay, we just want to bring this together beautifully. Now you'll just see how this starts to transform, and you can just keep adding. Look at that. Do you see here? It's a little bit watery, and now I'm going to just let it cook out. Just let it cook out beautifully and gently, and you'll see. Parsley is another wonderful, wonderful herb. Once again, think about the leaves, especially if you are having parsley coming out of your own garden. I always pick it, and then I always do the basin of water. And you hold it upside down, and you go like this, and you agitate it, and all the little bits of sand come out of the leaves, and it also freezes beautifully. So you chop it and stick it into little ice cubes or any little yogurt tubs, anything like that, and just freeze it for later. Because you know what? I love buying my herbs by the bunch. I can't stand these little plastic packets with herbs, but often we buy the bunch and we do waste a lot of food. So being a food forward ambassador, I don't like to throw anything away. And anything that's a root or a peel goes into my compost heap. Can you see the difference? Look at this. Look at that little bit of SASKO slurry. See? It is now this beautiful, thick. Yum. And, as you know, while one is cooking, excuse me, that's the chili coming off the pan. Just look at that beautiful, look at that sauce. Do you see how it's hugging the spoon now? Look how gorgeous that is. And then we just switch it off. And the parsley, often when you're making a bouquet garni or cooking something with parsley in the pot, it does change color and the flavor goes. It flavors your stock. So what I like to do now is just before I serve this is to take this and like really crush it. Oh my goodness. This beautiful parsley flavor that comes out. You see, by crushing it, when you cut it, I mean, you can cut it. I'm not saying don't cut it, crush and cut. When you should be able to smell on your fingers what that herb is going to taste like in your pot. Look at that. So just give everything, I call it the Jenny hug. Just give it a little crush so that it can release its beautiful flavors. And the soft herbs, parsley, coriander, and basil, always at the end. Even though it's in your dish, always add a little bit more, okay? Let's quickly go back to this pot before we do something sweet and check our bread. I'm going to just give that a bit of a turn. All that lovely bone broth is now going into this deliciousness. Look at that. And this is going to cook for about 45 minutes. Then you will check it. If your sauce looks like it still needs to reduce or your veggies aren't how you want them, take the chicken out. You can always put it back in later. Just look at this. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm going to taste this now. You know why? Do I need to? Oh, yes. Happy mouth. No salt, no nothing is needed. I love it. Yes, Autumn. Okay. So now this is done and dusted. What I'm going to do is add more garlic because I love it. Sorry, boys. This garlic, I'm going to just put it back in and let this just gently, gently simmer. You can cover it. I don't want this to be too wet. So I'm letting it go a little bit without any lid on it so that our sauce can reduce a little bit, let a little bit of it evaporate. Yummy, yummy, yummy. I'm feeling so hungry now, Janet Moses, sweetheart. Make yourself some SASKO toast while you watch me cook. And you can't wait to dig in. Jenny, fresh basil, better than dry. You know, any fresh herb I always find is better than a dried herb. But every herb, having said that, every herb has its magic in the pot. Because if I make the beautiful, beautiful pasta dish where I take mushrooms and sweet basil, dried sweet basil, because it has a different flavor to the fresh basil. And I cook that sauce out with that. But if I was doing like an Asian, a Vietnamese, or a Thai dish, I would use fresh basil. So if a tomato sauce, I would use fresh basil, which I would chop in at the end. But as I say, each herb has its magic and it has its application in the kitchen. I got beans from the can and they're a bit soft. Do I need to put them in at the end? Yes, when the chicken is about to be done. Absolutely. Gugu, keep them. Absolutely. Otherwise, it'll make a lovely thick sauce. But keep them at the end. This is a good one. A labor of love, SASKO. Oh, Susan September. You know what? So much love goes into our product. I have to tell you. That's why it's been around for so long, darling. Because we love what we do, and everything we put into that bag has been tried and tested, and we just know that every time you use it, you're never going to ever have a dish that's not successful. I have that with dumplings. Very nice, very nice. Jenny, she's saying here, I'm looking at all the love SASKO. I'm loving it now. All the hashtags coming up. This one says, Chef, I got beans from the can. Yes, we answered that. Can I keep it? Oh, yes, thyme would be fantastic. Of course you can. Don't you dare put basil in there because you'll never ever have a blooming SASKO again in your life. No, if you're allergic to it, thyme would be lovely with this. Please use thyme, fresh rosemary as well. Would be lovely. It's a delicious chicken stew. I promise you, Janet. You're going to love this. So that's cooking away nicely. I'm going to just do a little bit of a clearance here. And then what I'm going to do is, you know what we can do? Just give me a piece of greaseproof paper. We'll just plonk it on top of this board. And I want to check our bread. Let's have a looky, see. Oh, that bread is looking magnificent. if I tell you that in no time we're going to have fabulous, fabulous bread. Okay, so another little tip here, especially winter's coming now and you make lots and lots of stews. Don't waste. You can keep this slurry. Do you see the slurry that we've made? You can keep it in a little jar in your fridge so that you can just go like this every time you want to thicken your stews, okay? So keep it in a jar, and it doesn't, you can thicken all kinds of things with that. And the other thing, maybe a little tip, also, we love fried chicken in this house, and what I do is I just literally, I steam, like if just say I took this chicken, it's 3/4 cooked, cool it down, and then I just take SASKO flour and I put it in a bag with some salt and pepper, celery salt, any dried herbs that you want. I shake it, shake it, shake it. It clings to it beautifully. I deep fry it. It's better than any commercial chicken, trust me. What do you mean that where did you go wrong, Adi? Where did you go wrong? Maybe you're using the wrong flour brand, darling. I don't know. Someone says when to add the fresh thyme. Fresh thyme, once again, I would add it close to the end, like maybe 3/4 of the way through the cooking time. If you're using dried thyme, you can put it in earlier because it needs time to extract that flavor. Oh, okay, I see you say that, but the yeast was an open packet, which I kept in a container from last month. It should be fine, absolutely fine, as long as the expiry date on that isn't, it hasn't got wet. And let me tell you, if you've already made your bread, don't stress, because you can actually fry them. You can make fried breads with that dough. Okay, so if it doesn't rise, you can make fried bread with that. Can't wait to see the bread. I'm keeping you waiting. Barbara, it is mouth-watering, trust me. Oh, look at you. I have so many hashtags. We've got SASKO Top Bakers, SASKO Chef's Kitchen, it's SASKO SA, fantastic. Kimberly, yes, I'm trying to share all my lovely tips, and you guys can share your tips with me too, okay? Oh, you said the bread roll was too dense. Okay, maybe your yeast wasn't so fantastic. But darling, don't throw it away, because you know what? You could make savory rusk if you've already baked it. Slice it into thin slices and put it in the oven and dry it out, and it's lovely with thick butter on it, so you don't have to waste it. Where are we going here? Can I add chopped herbs to the slurry? You can add chopped herbs to the pot. I wouldn't, if you're going to put your slurry and save it in the fridge, I wouldn't put chopped herbs with it, sweetheart. But you can add it with the herbs and the slurry into the pot, absolutely. Okay, good morning. Good tip about the fried bread. Of course, waste not, want not, darling. I'm telling you now, I'm a food ambassador. I'm a brand ambassador for Food Forward. And I would never throw anything away. Jenny, I tried making bread rolls last night, but it was too dense. Okay, that's where you went wrong. Okay, sweetheart, nothing to do with the flour. It's your blooming yeast. You must keep that yeast closed. She says here, can I keep it to using thyme instead of basil, or what you recommended? I'm allergic to basil. Absolutely, you can definitely keep doing that. I love fresh herbs as well, Janet says. The more the better, absolutely. Where are we, Gina? The bread. I'm so sorry about your bread rolls, darling, but don't throw them away. Just bake them like rusk in the oven. It'll be delicious. Good tip about the fried bread. Oh, thank you, Jenny. I'll fry the bread. Bless you. You see? Oh, yes, it is soul food. A simmering stew that fills your home with this wonderful aroma. Absolutely. Having so much fun enjoying the show. Fabulous, Janet. I hope you join us every single time. It'll be lovely, lovely to have you join us. Okay, so now we've got this bubbling and brewing in our kitchen. I always use a teaspoon of sugar to balance the tartness of the tomato. Can I use it here? Yes, you can, Google. Don't put a whole teaspoon. Go slowly, slowly first, because that is something that my mother used to do in her breedy. She'd put just a couple of grains of sugar in it, especially when the tomatoes are fresh. Tomatoes are very, very tart. Sometimes the canned tomatoes aren't quite as tart, but you know what? It's your recipe now. It's your taste bud. And I say taste is so private and so individual. So, darling, if you want a whole teaspoon of sugar, put it in. And yes, it is so yummy, Nicole. And I met you in Abu Dhabi. Oh, I can't wait to get back to Abu Dhabi. I've been missing doing my shows there. Oh, COVID, I hate you. I do make it look easy. You know why? Because I have SASKO. SASKO's got my back, darling. That makes it very, very easy. Okay, tonight's meal sorted. I'm happy to hear that. I want to now get your dessert sorted. So now what we're going to do is my dear, sweet, gorgeous Autumn, let's bring all the dessert ingredients. And what I've done is I have made a couple of these little ones up front. I would recommend that you make these first thing in the morning. They literally take minutes to cook, okay? And really, really paint by numbers, seriously. We've got our SASKO pack, we've got the vanilla bake mix, and if you actually, you can see you can make cupcakes, you can make muffins from this, and you could make a lovely three-tiered layer cake with this water, very nice for birthdays. And it's easy. It's literally all the hard work has been taken out of this for you. So it's eggs and oil and milk. So what we're going to do is you can do it if you want to in a cake mixer. Yeah, that's our bowl. But this goes so very quickly. So what I'm going to do is just put everything, mix all the wet things together. Autumn, darling, we can take all these empty things here and pop it on that side as well. So we're going to just take all the wet things, and can you do it my way, Autumn? Look. That's because you're not married. And why do I say it because you're not married? Because I got a wedding ring on. And we just mix all of the wet stuff together, and then Autumn's going to come and just add that whole packet of SASKO bake mix. If you want to, you can just take this recipe and you can own it. You can do it in the machine, but I don't like to overbeat it. You know what I really enjoy? We've also got a chocolate bake mix, and we've got a velvet cake one, and that works so well with berries, raspberries, delicious. So instead of using the pineapple, we just pop it together and do exactly the same thing, and you'll end up with this delicious, dense, chocolatey, raspberry, fruity, yumminess, and that I would not have with custard. I would have that with lovely fresh cream. So what I'm going to do, my sweetheart, is plonk you in the corner and bring that into here so long. So if I can give you, you can do a little bake for me there, then I'm going to show you how to do this. Now, we've got canned pineapple. You might think these are tiny pineapples. They're not tiny pineapples. What we've done is we've just taken one little segment out to fit it, because I want this to fit flat. That's very, very important, that this fits absolutely flat, so that I get that pineapple over the top. Okay, so that's the first tip. Actually, the first tip is spray it very well, because there's some sugar on the pineapple. What we've done is we've melted some butter, and we've drizzled it on, put the pineapple on a plate, we've drizzled the butter onto it, and we've sprinkled it with some lovely cinnamon sugar. We then take that and you pop it face side down with your cinnamon sugar into your well-oiled, sprayed, buttered, whatever you're going to use, patty pan. This is a whole muffin tin. Some people in my house don't actually enjoy pineapple at all, so I've left a couple of holes empty. And I'm even going to get a couple of cupcakes out of this for later on to have for tea tomorrow afternoon after dessert. And what I'll do with that is I think I'll just split them in half, and I'll just whip up some mascarpone and some honey and maybe some raspberries, and we'll serve that with coffee. And then what happens is you plonk it down, make sure that you've pressed it so that the only batter that's going to get to the bottom of the pan is here. See? In the center. In the center. Okay. And that way we'll have this beautiful pineapple surface. We're now going to I'm going to just take a little cup measure. Thank you, Autumn. I'm going to just take like a little cup measure and literally, remember, don't go all the way up. You always got to leave a little bit of space, because if you go all the way up, what's going to happen is you're going to get Mount Kilimanjaro, a big peak, but that's fine, because you can just balance it off later, and you can, as you trim, you can eat it. Okay, it needs space. So if you have a look here, which one is right, which one is wrong? This one here, that's wrong. That's right. Okay, so Autumn, can you carry on here, my sweetheart, and I'm going to read some of those wonderful hints and tips. Okay, so you can even stand next to me. I don't bite, you know, Miss Autumn. She has spring in her step and summer in her hair and autumn in her heart. Hey. Okay, so this is what I'm looking for here. And try not to get it around the sides. Try and keep it nice and clean. The reason being, you don't, when you want to tip it out, you don't want it to get stuck. Okay, so let's go back to some of those lovely, can I use an 8-inch cake pan instead of muffin? Oh, absolutely, you can take this and own it, my love. You can use the cake tin and pack your pineapple and have one big, beautiful cake. Just remember, you'll see the instructions on the pack will tell you how long to cook a whole cake or a muffin or a cupcake, okay? Look at that, loving anything with pineapple. Oh yes, Bernardo, I love anything with pineapple as well. I like making pineapple salads. I like baking with pineapple. I love pineapple jam. Oh my goodness. If you open my cupboard, you'll see pineapple jam. I just love it. Oh my goodness, you are a wealth of culinary knowledge. But can I say something to you? You're never too old to learn, not even me, and I'm ancient. So you learn something new every day, my sweetheart. Yet let's do them all because we want cupcakes, doll. And I've even greased another tin there, sweetie pie. Have made cupcakes. Normally now I'm going to put fruit at the bottom. Absolutely. You can even put, as I say, you can put some raspberries within. If you're going to use raspberries, you can actually mix it into your dough if you want to. But solid fruit always at the bottom because you want it to show up, you know, nicely on top. And in fact, when we're finished with that, you know, in that fridge, in the front there, we've got some cherries. In the box, we're going to make our thing look more festive, my sweetheart. Miles is going to look even more. Yes, I love upside down pineapple cake. And you, as I say, you don't have to use the base mix. You can make it from scratch by using your SASKO cake flour and have it upside down. Delicious, delicious, delicious. Thank you, chef. Well, thank you. And what do we have here? Let's have a look and see. Talking about fruit at the bottom. I know it's not Christmas time, but when I bake anything with fruit that goes into a batter, just remember to take that fruit and just roll it in a little bit of SASKO flour so it doesn't sink to the bottom, so that it suspends itself within your batter, okay? Your premixes are real life and time savers. Do you see, Jeanette? I have to tell you something. There are times in a woman's life and men's lives, because a lot of men cook now, where we just have ridiculous guilt, and for what, I don't know. You know, you should not have any guilt about using anything that's instant, as long as it's SASKO. You need to save time. It gives you more time with your family. That's why we create things like this, my darling. Okay, so I'm going to pop these into the oven. And the bread is almost ready. Oh, yes. I'm going to just leave the bread for another couple of minutes. Just another couple of minutes, and we're going to take that out. We're going to bake those for about 15 minutes. And they should be ready. We'll just poke a little thing inside, and delicious. I've got here, can I use chocolate or red velvet instead of pineapple? Of course you can. You most definitely can. You can even, you know what would be really nice in this vanilla mix is some chocolate chip cookies. You know, a chocolate chip that you normally make cookies with, and just, as I say, just roll them in a bit of SASKO flour so they suspend and they work their way all around. We're going to fill those too, hey. Fresh cherries. Oh. Fresh cherries, that's my absolute weakness. If you can get fresh cherries, darling, you go for it. I want to try the pineapple cake. Please do it. You must do it. It's too delicious for words. I don't have guilt, especially when it comes to eating. You should never feel guilty, and you should never feel guilty about using any baked mix from SASKO, darling. It's going to buy you time, and we're getting lots of rain, so you can even have a nice bubble bath. I love it. Dessert wonder. Can't wait to see the bread. Keeping you waiting, darling. And yes, Martin, Craig, it does look, it's going to taste even more amazing. Fresh cherries definitely sound yummy. I think I heard a little bee tell me that maybe in October, November, we're going to start seeing fresh cherries again. That's exciting. Can I add chocolate? Yes, of course, Eddie. You can add, definitely, you can add chopped chocolate to that. Fresh cherry sounds yummy. Where's your hashtag, people? Come on, every comment, give me a hashtag, because you never know which one comes up. I know some of you are making multiple comments, but I mean, you deserve to win. So come on, let's do this thing. Barbara, yes, delicious, spicy. Yes, spicy. Now let's talk about spicy and things that love to be with pineapple. Do you know what? A little bit of cayenne pepper would be absolutely delicious with that pineapple, and an upside down pineapple cake would be lovely. Using SASKO premix is so easy to bake, absolutely. Children's lunch boxes, you know what? The brand muffin mix is just fantastic because you can add orange zest to it, you can add cranberries to it, you can add all kinds of things to that, and it's wonderful for the kids' lunch boxes, and they actually freeze very well. So what you could do is for breakfast, if you wanted to use the whole packet up, you can freeze them and then just ask Mike for a hand. Just pop them into Mike's little cavernous body and just nuke them for 2 minutes and they'll be as fresh and as lovely as ever. Terry Jones says, I love SASKO with chocolate mix and chocolate chips. Absolutely, giving me lots of ideas. Now you're making my mouth want to bite into that. Oh, look at you, Susan. Let's feast away. Oh, we're not far away from a feast, let me tell you, my darling. And you're loving the show, Carol Ann? Fantastic. We want you to be part of that show one of these days, okay? So the next time we do this, you need to cook along. And if you are cooking along, don't forget your beautiful photographs, guys. Mine, too, Miss Morris. Love fresh cherries dipped in chocolate. Do you know what's also nice? You can actually bake your cherries, a whole fresh cherry. You can actually stick it inside of your baked mix, and it'll be absolutely fantastic. Okay, so now, what am I looking for? I'm looking for a box of cherries from the front. Just take a few out into a little bowl. Should we plate? Should we cheat? Should we cheat? Should we buy custard or make custard? I think we're going to cheat. Why should we? If we can cheat with SASKO, why can't I cheat with a little bit of custard? But I'm not going to show you. I'm going to just go and it'll arrive. Vani Chetty, I love you. I'm so glad you're enjoying the show. You can also use peaches. Absolutely yummy. You can use peaches, apricots, any tin fruit. Would be fantastic. I'm happy. Oh, look at that. Vuakazi says, I'm definitely going to try the SASKO premix. And you know what? Winter's coming. Try that fat cook. Try that sweet dough. It's stunning. I want to cook along too, definitely next time if I can. Addy, I'm waiting for you, sweetheart. You are going to cook with us. Absolutely. Look how beautiful my stew is looking. It's, oh, look at that. Just look at that. It's really starting to look yummy. And you'll notice I've got it burned side down for most of the cooking because I want to extract all that delicious flavor that comes out of it. Oh, look at that. This is looking really, really glorious. Okay. So the bread will be breading in a few minutes. That'll come out of the oven. I think we're going to plate up our dessert now because I do have a couple of babies already made. And then we're going to plate up our stew and we're going to rip that bread open. And we're going to feast. Yes, box custard. Thank you for giving me permission. Carol and Jewel, I'm going to cheat with some box custard. Okay. I think I'm going to use just a nice plain little white plate. I'm going to disappear out of view for 2 minutes. You're going to focus on there so I can cheat. I have to cheat. Should we have a bowl or should we have a plate? I think we'll have a flat plate. Okay, so while Mr. Cameraman is in the corner, Jack Horner, and he's not going to let you see me cheat, you're going to watch that pot bubbling and boiling away beautifully. You're not going to let them see me cheat, hey? Look at that. Yes. Lovely chubbly. Now what you're going to do, Autumn, is put some of these in a bowl. Okay, now they can see us. We're back. Autumn, you're going to make these look pretty and put a little cherry on them there, and then we'll bring it. Okay, so now that time has come. You could use any kind of cherries. Whoops. Okay, I'm just waiting for my cameraman because I want to get up close and personal. Let's dish it up, chef. Oh, yes, we can't wait. Chicken stew looks delicious, Janet. I promise you it's going to be. Please send some over. It looks yummy and amazing. Lovely non-stick cookware. Thank you, sweetheart. Tell the cameraman to take a spoon and have a plate. He can wait. Chicken stew looks delicious. Yeah, that poor cameraman. I normally feed him, but this is too hot. I can't stick it into his mouth while he's filming. So sorry, I missed. Looking forward to the next one. Delene, we want you to join us for the next one, sweetheart. They're always quick, they're always easy, and they're always delicious. I'm waiting to see how you serve. Well, we're going to serve nicely now, darling. Just give me 2 minutes. So we're going to go dessert first. Some people say life is too short. You should start with dessert first. So you can have your dessert any which way you like it. I'm going to just put a tiny little blossom over here. I'm going to just stick my little baby over there, little mint leaf. If you would like something more purple, there are so many beautiful herbs and fresh things around at the moment. So as I say, you could use that. I'm definitely going to just pop a little bit of mint. And I'm thinking, you know what? White rosemary is just so fragrant and gorgeous. And for me, it's a sweet and savory herb. So I was thinking maybe for this time, we'll just use a little bit of rosemary blossom. Look at that. And we can just take some of these rosemary blossoms, because I know that some of you do have rosemary in your garden, and winter is the beautiful time for rosemary. Rosemary just absolutely loves winter. Look at that. Even though it's a Mediterranean herb, and I know it loves the heat, and it's a very hardy herb as well. It doesn't die, because you'll see when I've traveled, I've gone onto the mountainsides in Greece and a lot of those Mediterranean countries, and the rosemary is just growing beautifully wild. So we could either have the little cherry in the middle, or we could have a little pretty flower. I mean, the choice is yours. What would you like, a cherry or a blossom? You can choose how you would like to serve it. And all I'm dying to do is actually lick my fingers, but I'm not going to. I'm going to wash them. So, oh, that looks that. Oh, yes. Buster Rhyme. Is the rosemary flower edible? Most certainly there are. Now, let me just share a little tip with you about how many flowers there are out there that are not edible. One that looks beautiful, it smells like licorice. Don't ever put anything that is not edible onto your dessert. Oleander is the most giftig, most poisonous, terrible, beautiful flower out there, okay? Don't use that. So things like roses, but roses must be, when I say organic, they haven't been sprayed, because often I dip them in sugar and they're lovely to eat. You can use nasturtiums, snapdragons, alyssum. Sweet peas look beautiful. They look, but you cannot eat them. Sweet peas are poisonous, okay? So geraniums are lovely to use. There are just so many. Calendulas are fantastic to use. Lots and lots of beautiful edible flowers out there. And what I would suggest, if you're a novice and you think you've got something in your garden and you're not really sure about it, rather have a look in a fridge at a supermarket, Woolies and Checkers. They've all got edible flowers these days. Look at what's inside of that, and then go into your own garden, identify that, and you'll know what's not going to kill you, okay? Any flowering herb, any blossom that comes from your herbs, you can eat. The only thing is you can't eat is like, definitely cannot eat like rhubarb leaves, and you cannot eat potato leaves, and they've got this beautiful flower, which is absolutely gorgeous, but you cannot eat potato flowers, as gorgeous as they look, because they are toxic and they will kill you. So my tip to you is go and Google, but have a look in the supermarket, because they're all in the fridges now, and you can say, oh, look there's a bit of alyssum, oh, there's a viola, there's a pansy. Those are all beautiful and edible, okay? Cherry, please. Of course you can have cherries, my darling. Wow, that looks awesome. Thank you. For the pineapple flavor, can I put in the pineapple syrup from the can to make the cake, okay? You could most probably do that. Remember, it's made with sugar. So it's already, we have a lovely sweet vanilla base, which is quite sweet. Maybe you want to just use a little bit of that pineapple and just top it up. Maybe like a quarter of the pineapple syrup, and the rest maybe use your milk, because it is going to be very, very sweet, Gugu. But if you put the whole lot in, tell me how it turns out, okay? Anybody else? Anything else? I have a garden of geraniums. They look so beautiful. Geraniums are wonderful, and the leaves are great. And often you will find, and geraniums and SASKO are a match made in heaven. I've got a rose-scented geranium. And what I do is I wash the leaves and I put them face down in the bottom of my baking tin, and I make an orange cake. And this geranium and the orange, it just infuses. It's too beautiful for words. And when you tip it out, the bottom is the top, and you have these gorgeous leaves, and all you do is you just dust some icing sugar over the top, and they're fantastic. Yes, Hayley, the SASKO mixes are very, very versatile. As I say, you can make a whole cake with them, you can make muffins with them, you can make cupcakes with them, and you can even make a pudding bake. Now, I have baked them like, I'll take the chocolate and make a nice chocolate pudding. I just put a little bit of extra liquid, a little bit of extra milk, because I'm not baking it in a round baking dish. I'm doing it in a like kind of a square thing. So if you want to make a pudding, just add a little bit more liquid, which will keep it nice and moist. Okay. And can I eat chive purple flowers? Oh, absolutely you can. The chive flowers are absolutely safe for you to use. And there's another thing, it's called wild garlic that grows in your garden. You can use those beautiful lilac garlic flowers as well. They are fantastic. Anybody else? I keep wanting to go back to that one where the SASKO mixes are so versatile. They are incredibly versatile. Can I use basil flowers? Oh, yes. Not only will you love them, the bees love them. The soft pink ones, yes, you can. Is the dessert good for diabetics? Definitely not. But you know what? They say a little bit of everything would never hurt you. You could never dive into this whole thing if you're diabetic. Just be very careful. I have high sugar, so normally if I dive into this, I drink a liter of water along the way. Just watch your sugar, okay? Are you loving the tips, Bonita? Thank you. I'm just really enjoying sharing these tips with you. And just remember, I don't want to go back to that diabetic one again. Just remember, this has got everything in here. It's just like pure, beautiful ingredients. So the sugar is very high for a diabetic. A cheat day won't hurt. What do you mean by cheating? That depends. Well, of course it won't hurt. You can't hurt if you cheat with SASKO, darling. Anything in that package you can cheat with. Heaven with SASKO, yes. And your mouth is going to say, I'm in heaven. I'm in heaven. I love it. And your heart beats so that you can hardly speak, because you won't be able to speak because your mouth will be full of delightful SASKO. What else? Oh, wow, Janet. Yes, it is ooh and ow. So let's just start with that while the bread is going to come out any minute now. I think, should we use a plain white plate for our stew, sweetheart? Can you bring me one from there? And we're going to plate up our stew. Oh, this is looking glorious. This is looking beautiful. I do need to wash my sticky little fingers. There we go. Oh, this bread is going to be lovely. Okay. Thank you, my darling. So let's have a look at this stew. It's looking so glorious and gorgeous. Oh, look at that. So, what's nice is you could just bring this lovely rustic poiky pot straight to your table. Look at that. Isn't that glorious? You can bring it straight to your table and everybody can just dig in. Yum. Look at that. And then maybe we just use a little bit of this lovely fresh rosemary, seeing that it is in season and it's glorious. Here we go with its beautiful little blossoms over here. If you want to, you can just add a nice little pop of green by using a nice little celery leaf. You can just stick that little celery leaf in. And I'm going to have a nice cup of tea in anticipation of my glorious, glorious dessert. How does that stew look? Is it looking good? Yes, now we're getting the comments. Wow, yummy, yummy. Stew looks yummy. Yes, what a feast it is. And it's very, 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 very delicious. And the bread is ready. What do you think of that, people? Look at that beautiful bread. And now we must check that other bread to see if it's risen to the occasion so we can pop it into the oven. Just look at this beautiful bread. Do you see that tip of just doing this? You see how easy it, whoops. Do you see how easy it is just to lift out? So I'm going to wait for my Miss Autumn. Oh, Autumn, look at that. We are definitely going to feast, guys. Look at this. Just this one is ready for the oven. Can you see? Isn't that magnificent? It's a beautiful baby, that one. I'm going straight into the oven with you. And then Miss Autumn, I need your help, sweetheart. You take, but use your lappy to lift that bread, the bread tin away. Thank you. Does that not look fantastic, people? How does that look, guys? Does that look yummy, yummy? And it's steaming. I'm going to cut into it now just because I'm ever so greedy, and I know you're all hanging around here and waiting in anticipation to see what's going to happen with this bread. But normally just give it, it's bread also just needs a couple of minutes to rest. Look at that. It needs a couple of minutes to rest so that the steam can leave it and you can still eat it beautiful and warm, and dab it up with your... Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get a nice sharp... Give me that lovely sharp bread knife in here. Give me this one. So now we're going to cut into this bread. I'm going to go in the center, Mr. Fenter, okay? Like so. As I say, if we had the time, I would just let it rest. But it ain't going to rest in peace because we're going to drive it mad. Look at that. Can you get right into... Oh, look at that. Sticky fingers. Can you see in there? All that yummy deliciousness. I'm so excited. Look at that. Just look at that bread. Just, it's layered, it's light, it's fluffy, it's creamy, it's cheesy, it's garlicky, and it's all thanks to SASKO. You say it looks divine, and you love it. Martin says, winner divine, I love it. Martin, I want you to make this bread and send me a photograph. That looks fantastic. Thank you, sweetheart. Great menu, everything on the table. Love it. Perfect for Father's Day. Dad's going to love you. The bread looks gorgeous and absolutely delicious. Gina, I promise you, it is absolutely delicious. This bread looks absolutely delicious. Where's the butter? You know, you sound like me. I add butter to this when it's cool. I do. I shouldn't because it's got butter in it and cream cheese in it. But when it's nice and cold. And we have yummy vanilla muffins with yummy pineapple rings. Absolutely. Look at that bread. Get into that bread, people. What do you say? What do you say? Come on, I want your comments on that now with a SASKO hashtag. What do you say about this yummy bread? Mix all the way for the school holidays coming up. Absolutely. And the kids can help you. You know, it's just so easy, and it'll create this beautiful love of baking with them as well. This one says freshly made with SASKO. Darling, everything is freshly made with SASKO. Absolutely. Love the orange cake. I baked it twice before. Huge family favorite. This is mouth-watering now. I'm looking forward to mine. I'm looking forward to yours too. Please don't forget to take photographs and post them, and then tag us on SASKO SA and at Jenny Morris Chef. And don't forget the SASKO Chef's Kitchen logo and the SASKO Chef SASKO SA hashtag, because there's a beautiful 5,000 Rand voucher coming up for grabs, okay? So dig in. That bread is the bomb. Oh, yes, it's the bomb, darling. So I'm going to cut one thick slice. I'm going then to say to you, I love you, you love me. Ha, ha, ha. We're going to have a lovely little family meal now with my people in the kitchen. And I love you, and I'm so happy that you joined me today. And as we do these beautiful Facebook Lives with SASKO, we want you to join us more, okay? And actually cook along. Look at that. Oh! This is too glorious for words, okay? So, oh, look at that. I normally pop food into your mouth, Mr. Cameraman, but you'll cry if I do that now. So, Autumn, you come here, darling. I have sterilized hands, as you know, so let Mama feed you, you feed yourself. Ah, she's independent. What do you think? Come and stand here and tell these people. And you know you work for me, so you can't say it's not nice because I'm standing on her foot.
It's really good.
Is it good? Definitely going to try the mouth-watering bread. Definitely loading the dishes as I'm done. Bon appetit. I can't wait to indulge in spirit. I love you. Lucky people there, thank you. SASKO premixes are the best. I can't say anything until I taste it. And I can be your taste tester. You can come to Yamsha's Kitchen in the Cape Quarter, and you can taste everything we make, eh? Anything else that I don't want to leave out? I just want to see those hashtags because we're going to do that beautiful lucky draw. I can't say anything till I taste it. I love that comment. Lucky Autumn. She's a lucky girl because she's got Jenny in her life. just break a piece off. You know, if you did that, I would smack you. Hey, Autumn, don't listen to those people giving you bad advice. I always tell Autumn, don't pick up other people's bad habits, just break it. No, she won't. I will. Whoop, whoop. Oh, I love it, Barbara. Yes, it is indeed. The back slice. You want the back slice. That's the big slice, darling. Vani, it does look good. It tastes good. It's ever so yummy. And thank you for the entertainment. Tips, everything looks delicious. Thank you, Elise, for joining us. Everything is yum, and it does look yum. Thank you for all your wonderful comments. And join us next time. So all I want to say, from my kitchen to your kitchen, I hope you're going to try these dishes. If you've tried them already, please post them. Don't forget the SASKO SA hashtags. And good luck, everybody. Hey? Oh, look at you, Chef. You're God sent. You know what? He's got my back. That's why. Love your expressions and jokey sayings. I'm a little bit crazy. Looks amazing. Thanks, darling. I love you. There's so many beautiful comments. I could just go on and on and on, but these boys want to eat. We want some more live cooking shows from SASKO. Oh, SASKO, you're listening. No, we want some more. Of course, we do it every single month. Maybe we'll do 2 a month. You never know. Chicken stew. I wish we could get some. Just keep posting those comments, because I'm going to go back and I'm going to answer you on this feed, guys. Thank you for joining us. Love you lots. Remember, SASKO's got your back. And yes, you can cheat with SASKO. Thank you very much for joining us. Take care. Be good. And don't forget hashtag SASKO and to tag us. SASKO, SA, and Jenny Morris Chef across all platforms. Okay? Take care. Be good. Love you too. Bye.